Did you hear that, Joe?
I did hear something. I thought she was saying
No.
something.
No.
That's weird.
That was the weirdest.
Did you hear what it said?
No. That's why we do this. Joe, I've got chills because that was like ghost-like. It almost was like, I see dead people.
Yeah, it was. You know what, though? I was flipping through some of the old broadcasts, so it could have been something like that.
Let's hope it was that.
I don't know.
Well, I hope it was
I think if you're watching on your phone, you need to mute the
yeah,
speaker.
I hear that.
Yeah.
Oh, you do?
Hey, good morning, Mary. Testing.
Like, just turn your volume all the way down.
I did. Okay.
You need to mute.
Hey, that wasn't her. That was me.
Oh, okay. I knew it was one of them.
That wasn't Megan. That was Vic. Unfortunately.
I figured you should know better.
I should. My head is still stuffed up. I got the Chinese virus. I'm kidding. Megan filling in for Lizzie today looked at me like, huh? No, I feel great working out, doing all kinds of things. Just the left side of I get sinus infections.
Yeah, I get it too. At least one really bad one every winter.
Mm-hmm. Welcome to the show before the show. Let's make sure we got everything else here. Like, subscribe, share the show, send it out. We are grateful for that. Let's see here. Let's get this going. It's a Thursday. And we'll talk a little bit more about it later. Megan is in today. Megan Moret for Lizzie. Lizzie has wake and funeral today for her father-in-law. So they're going through all of that today. Be sure you're taking your D3, Vic, and you have put moisture in your house. If you're running the heat when your nose dries out, if you're more susceptible to viruses. Oh, thank you. I do take D3. I was taking it, but I hadn't taken it for like a month. And Sunday, I started taking it. Maybe I just had that intuition. And then all of a sudden, Monday, I was like, oh, the left side of my face doesn't feel right.
Oh, well, vitamin C too. Lots of it. That's key right
now.
Yeah.
I know. I hear you.
Drink lemon water, Vic.
Lemon water. We'll hit some of that too.
That will kill the bacteria in your esophagus and your face. And it'll also give you vitamin C.
I like just the straight what?
You put organic lemon juice inside of a bottle of water and chug it down. It's like a natural antibiotic.
Really?
Joe knows nutrition.
Joe knows.
You are like a doctor.
It was funny. You walked in the studio and you're like, oh, I see that tattoo on your hand.
Mm-hmm.
Never really thought that Joe would. All right, here we go. I don't know what we got here. But anyway, so you can, today's that day. I know Lizzie's, that's over at Bowie Funeral Home. I know that Lizzie has a ton of friends here. If you didn't know already, obviously that's 12:30 today until 3. Mm-hmm.
Best wishes to her and her family. How sad.
Yeah, I mean, nobody is ever ready for that. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Especially when it's the final part of saying goodbye to somebody.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Thank you guys for jumping into the show. Show before the show. Vic Faust back in. Thanks again to Derek. He always does such an amazing job. He's got a new show coming up. We're going to be talking about that. Am I allowed to say that yet?
I wouldn't see what it would hurt.
I don't even know the name of the show, though.
Oh, well, yeah. I think there's actually, it hasn't been decided on, really.
Okay, well, Lizzie and Derek and Joe are going to try to do another show, which would be awesome. And we'll get into more of that because obviously, Lizzie's great. And Derek is awesome and has more energy than anybody I've ever met. So it'd be good for them. Guys, like, subscribe, share the show. We appreciate it. It helps get the word out. We are grateful for that.
Yeah, and that Joe guy.
That Joe guy. That Pro Joe guy. Giving everybody a chance to get in right now to the show. We appreciate that. Let me figure this out real quick and we'll get started. I just need we are packed. I mean, absolutely packed today. You won't. Megan is here. She's going to talk about her endeavors and work and passion to help victims of sex trafficking, what's actually happening, why Biden's responsible. You said a number of 85,000, and I saw it, Megan, and it blows my mind. We're going to get into that too. That number, 85,000 missing kids.
Yeah.
I don't even see how it's possible.
I don't know, but it's definitely a real number, and it's happened, since Biden was in office.
Oh, yeah. Go figure, like everything else, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of Biden blunders yesterday. Dear God. We may also have another man running for president on the Democratic side, a billionaire.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody knows who he is. We'll get into that in a second because he just sold his sports team. That should have given it away.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it would have given it away. Somebody's going to say it in a second. I guarantee they are. Let's see here. Did you let all your friends know or family know you were filling in today?
Just a few.
Just a few? Why not everybody?
Well, because I didn't really have much time.
That's true.
To let them know.
I know you didn't. We didn't confirm this till last
Yeah.
night.
Yes.
Yeah. Can you come in and fill in for Lizzie? I know they're big shoes to fill. I am sorry, but that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, but the few friends they listen. They just don't normally listen to it live like I do in the morning. They go and listen to it on different platforms.
Can I tag you on Facebook?
Yeah.
Or not?
Yeah.
What are you under?
Megan Murray.
Megan, I said it again.
Murray. And the craziest thing is my next door neighbor. Her name is Megan. Her middle name's Murray, and she's on Facebook as Megan Murray. That's crazy.
Oh my God.
I know.
Yeah, I can't find. I was trying to tag you, but that's all right. I'll find you. I'll find you here. We're getting started the show before the show, everybody. Okay.
Oh, it looks like Mary had a guess.
What's that?
Looks like Mary had a guess.
Yep, she got it. She already knows. I give Clay Travis credit for that. That's his opinion, and I agree. We get into that. Mark Cuban trying to take down Joe Biden, which is very easy, but he's got a mouth that never stops. So we need that's low-hanging fruit to go after Joe Biden.
At this point, I'd love to see anyone try and go and take Biden down.
Why is that?
Well, I just think that, if we get a good, running for the Democratic side, at least that would give an option for the Democratic, voters to have an option. Because if it boils down to, our boy Trump, it's going to be hairy because Joe Biden could show up in a wheelchair without use of his arms and legs or mouth, and the Democratic voters will still vote for him.
Probably. Well, people forget about RFK Jr. I mean, he's a strong candidate.
He is, and I really like him, but I think his voice makes me nervous.
Me too.
Very nervous. He looks like the picture of health, and I understand that he's a real health. But
didn't that voice? Isn't that a result of the cupcake?
Yeah, it is.
Right.
Yeah. It is, but still,
because his voice freaks you out. I mean, it's because of our government.
Well, but you still hearing it, and every time I hear it, I'm like, ooh.
It's definitely creepy, but I mean, I feel for the guy because of what happened.
If it was the cupcake or it was a vaccine of some sort.
Well, yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah, and
but now I've heard though that it could be the result of his long years of drug use too.
I've heard that as well.
So and I don't know.
People like to really, I mean, people could say that about me too, but that doesn't make it true. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. But he does. He makes me, if I didn't see him while he was speaking, I would think that he at any moment could just fall to his knees. He just does not sound.
He just needs to take his shirt off.
Well, he could take his shirt off.
Yeah.
And,
All right, we'll get ready we'll rock and roll here, Joe. You're ready, buddy. You can go ahead and start the show. Hey guys, welcome to Cancel This, canceltheshow.com. I'm Vic Faust, Pro Joe in the house. Lizzie Sparks is taking care with the family today. They have a wake/funeral visitation hours for her father-in-law, David Sparks, who's done a lot with the show as well. That's his father, so they're doing that today at 12:30. And of course, Lizzie doing whatever she can to help with that. Couldn't be with the show today, so my voice isn't that great. Plus, we asked one of our listeners, one of our viewers in, Megan Moret. Megan today filling in for Lizzie Sparks. Thanks for joining for Cancel This. And you wore your blue for Cancel This, which works out on purpose. Was that an accident or did you do it on purpose?
Hey, that was an accident.
Well, it works out well. Megan Moret with us today. We appreciate you taking some time to jump in with us. We are packed all kinds of subjects today. It is the fastest 2 hours in podcasting. Case in point, when we talk about all of the issues that we got to get to today. We've got several Biden blunders. I mean, Biden blunders all over the place. You would not, how this man is still sitting there and the Democrats know it. I don't know if he's even going to be able to get to, let's say, the spring. There's no way in hell. There is no way in hell. This man is losing it fast. We've also got Megan here to talk about how the U.S. border policy is aiding, and I say I should use a different word outside of aiding, but it's promoting sex trafficking. We're talking about 85,000 missing kids. Megan will break that down. And then we've got some call outs. Elon Musk calling out the media for trying to cancel him. Dana White calling out young kids for trying to cancel America. Former St. Louis Archbishop Cardinal Raymond Burke, a man who I know very well. I know him personally, getting scolded by Pope Francis for calling out the liberal policies and his soft stance on what is actual true church teaching. This is bad. And Burke is the second priest, if you will, just in the last few months to be scolded by Francis. And you talk about priests who are calling out what church teaching actually is. And this is what I was talking about. We'll get into it a little bit later. Just because men adulterate or screw up church teaching does not mean church teaching is wrong. And that is a key right there. You can't take the whole faith down by a couple bad apples because it happens in every faith. That's what's going on there. Coming up at 9:40, we've got Joe Brazel from St. Charles County Council. He definitely took the stance of we should have sent a message loud and strong on our vote Monday night regarding illegal immigrants, illegal aliens coming into St. Charles, at least from a symbolic standpoint. That was against Mike Elam. So we will get that as well. Lots to get to, plus anything else that comes up throughout today. Oh, yeah. Also, there's a debate tonight between Ron DeSantis and Gavin Newsom, which nobody will be watching. I'm sorry, it's on Fox News. It's a power play for both sides. I don't like it. This shouldn't be happening. It's Fox News trying to push Ron DeSantis ahead. And why give the airtime to Gavin Newsom? Because it's not going to be a situation where he is grilled over hot coals about his policies. It's just not going to happen. Okay, it is Thursday. We're ready to rock and roll, November 30th. But as we start, we've got to let Megan introduce herself and tell everybody who you are once again, as we have listeners and viewers popping in right now. Filling in for Lizzie Sparks, who's with her family today with the visitation and funeral of her father-in-law. Of course, that's David Sparks' husband. You're filling in. I appreciate you jumping in last second.
Yeah.
But I couldn't do it by myself today. So if you want to just let everybody know everything about you, because people may know you as Megan Marie from Facebook.
Good morning. Thanks so much for letting me come in, you guys. This is so great. This is my favorite show, my favorite thing to do in the morning when I'm driving my kids all over St. Louis to get to school and back. So what a great opportunity. What I've been doing the last couple years, it's been a roller coaster ride. I completely changed my career to move into this horrible world of trafficking. So I've been involved with several charities and different platforms to help with at-risk youth for years, in different ways. Also helping with the St. Louis homeless, especially the veterans, and just, participating in all of the St. Patrick's Foundation things. And about 2.5 years ago, I decided that it was time for me to really put my time and effort into crimes against children. And so what I did was I went to the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department and signed up. And I didn't sign up. I had to be accepted first. My whole goal was to move into the force of the task force for crimes against children. And you have to put your time in, you have to put your work in. And I knew that. And I went through the process. In St. Louis City and St. Louis County, it's interesting when you want to be in the department there, because in order to be on their force, you have to go through their academy. So all of the prerequisites and all of the acceptance comes beforehand, where a lot of other times when you go through an academy, you go through and then you graduate and then you start looking for your job. And so after about 6 months of all of the different testing, I felt like a guinea pig. I had to do the physical ability test, psych evaluations, aptitude testing, all of it. And it was such a roller coaster. And every time I walked into the building downtown, I would walk in and I was like, what am I doing? And I just kept feeling pushed. You got to keep going. You got to keep going. I was definitely the oldest in my class, but I kept going.
Sounds like a lot of work.
Oh,
to try to help people.
It was a lot of work,
but
maybe
that's a good thing. Is it to vet people to make sure that you're quality?
Well, for sure. And, you hear all of these comments about police officers not having to be fit and things like that, how things have changed. They're just so desperate. Well, that is not true in the city. We had to work our butts off. And I was so proud of myself, because me being the oldest, you had to make time and especially for your physical ability test. And I would go in and I felt like Superwoman, and I'd go in and I killed it. Like I just felt like I was just really able to get in with these younger people and do my part. So moving forward, after I was accepted and they said to report in October, I quit my job. So I had been with a salon for over 25 years.
Oh my gosh.
In St. Louis, hair, makeup, skin. And it was a wonderful, wonderful career. It allowed me to make a great living and take care of my kids and do everything that I needed to do. But it was time for me to move into more of a full-time position, helping children and the community.
How many kids do you have? So you're married and you have kids?
Yeah, 3 kids.
How old are your children?
Stepchildren. My oldest is 19, and then my middle is 15, and my youngest is 13. And then I have a crew of stepchildren as well. And they range from 28 down to 14.
So you guys are busy.
So we're busy.
And you cover a wide variety of ages as well. So you understand kids.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So the long story short, with this whole endeavor, I was 9 days out, and my mom, dad, and husband, they sat me down and asked me to please not go. For the first time in my whole entire life, I heard my dad cuss. I heard he was dropping all kinds of words, asking me if I knew what I was getting into, and I did. And my uncle was a city homicide detective for years, and my cousin is also down there in the city and going through the whole process. Everyone at the department knew not to tell either one of them that I was going through the program, because they would have said, no way, you're not doing it. You're not going to go through this program. So after I got accepted is when I decided to tell everyone, and that didn't go well. And so when I went to get fitted for my uniform and my vest, my husband was there. And while I was getting fit and I'm talking to the woman, she was asking me if I want the thicker one or the thinner one, one's warmer than the other. His face went white. So he was not prepared for what was what was about to happen. I was mentally, I'd been ready for it for years and years. I was just waiting for my kids to get old enough. And so I didn't go. And it was bittersweet, but I decided to still end my lifelong career at the salon and then move more into what I was doing. So now I am involved in, advocating for the victims of trafficking. So in two different ways. So I advocate for Gateway Alliance, which is at a local foundation here. And it's really about educating people and letting people know what it is, how it happens, and how to prevent yourself or your loved ones from being trafficked.
We're talking with Megan Moret. She's filling in today for Lizzie Sparks and getting to know a little bit of the background. I was just wanting people to know, and you're very passionate about politics.
Oh my gosh.
And you're passionate about conservative ideas.
Yes.
You're a red, white, and blue chick, so to speak.
Absolutely.
And you put it out there, and you're willing to have those conversations, which is why we asked you to come and fill in today from that standpoint. I agree with Mary and Benny. Thank you. God bless you for everything you do. Real quick, because I wanted to make sure we got this. We're going to talk a little bit about the sex trafficking industry coming up, what's happening right now, what you're seeing, not only from the St. Louis area standpoint, but across the country, and specifically at the border, thanks to Joe Biden's policies. And yes, Joe Biden's name is all over that from that standpoint. Robert says, real quick, Megan, have you ever heard of Brainwashed 444? Heather Blessington. She's at the forefront of helping save trafficked kids and trying to make people aware of what to look for, like you are.
No, I have not heard of her, but I will definitely look into that today. So that's great. The more we have looking into this and doing what they can, the more help that we'll be able to give victims and prevent. That's the key.
This is cancelthisshow.com. I'm Vic Faust with Megan Moret, Projo in the house as well. Of course, you can catch us at cancelthisshow.com all the time, Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. Central, and all the time on our website at cancelthisshow.com. News headlines, politics, interviews from all over the country, business. We talk it all, pop culture. And of course, on Fridays, we get a little wild. We have a little fun, get a little crazy, try to let things go. But tomorrow during the 8 o'clock hour, Patrick Willett, our guest from the Northeast who joined us before, did a phenomenal job breaking down what really happened for the assassination of JFK. He'll be in talking about what's happened to Minneapolis, the takeover of Minneapolis from other countries around the world, and how it was kind of ground zero for what we see happening right now in our country with this desire to tear down what America has always been about. You will not want to miss that. He'll be in tomorrow. Kelly Mano. I've got to get back. Kelly thinks she's coming in. Eric, Lizzie back, but it'll be a great show. Plus, we have a celebration tomorrow of the 1 year. We'll be doing some things for our 1 year anniversary. Believe it or not, it's already been a year.
Congrats.
Yes, ups and downs all around. That's for sure when that comes through. Okay. I wanted to talk a little bit about your, let's just start right there. I mean, we've already talked about it. When it comes to the whole situation regarding trafficking, what are you seeing right now that people need to be very concerned about in the St. Louis area? and then we can tie it into what's happening at the border. And maybe you need to talk about the border first for what's happening in St. Louis.
Well, I think first, people need to realize that it is happening here. It truly, truly is. We had mentioned The Sound of Freedom on your show.
Isn't St. Louis like the leading in sex trafficking?
Okay, so it's not the leading. It is so in the numbers fluctuate all the time, week to week, month to month. So right now we're in top 20, but there are times and months and weeks where we're in the top 5. Now, the United States is one of the top 3 countries that are consumers of trafficking, next being Mexico and the Philippines. So when people think of trafficking, just like I did until about 7 years ago when I first went to India and I met young girl survivors of trafficking, you think of these movies where gunmen come in and they kidnap these people in the middle of the night with guns, and then they starve them and keep them in dark garages and basements. And it's not like that everywhere. Now, there are cases and places that it does happen like that. And in different communities and cultures, it looks so different. So here, it can look like that. I mean, we know that, guns are running rampant in St. Louis City, especially. So it could happen like that. But it actually is a little bit more undercover, under wraps, so to speak. And so in St. Louis, I'll just speak about that way. A lot of these victims are falling prey to people on social media, technology, things like that. And so when you have all of these young people that are addicted to being on their phones, their computers, their iPads, this is where people come in and prey on them. They're vulnerable. During COVID, the numbers in trafficking went up so high. I think it was 66%. It went up, and that's because kids they're not in school. They're not being watched. They are on their devices, and a lot of them were mentally unstable because of the isolation and because of the rate of depression was just sky high. And this is when they will come in and take these innocent victims and use them. And another thing that happens too, and this is hard and it's a dark topic at times, but there are family members that traffic their own children and family members, and it actually happens a lot. So it can happen for money, for drugs, whatever it is. There are lots of children that are being exploited in that way. The girls that I work with face to face at a residential, it's a residential home, and it's a restoration home for youth 12 to 17 years old. And this is where these young girls, they go and they have been trafficked, and this is where they can go anywhere from 12 months to 2 years to learn how to be a child and learn how to get over the trauma and start to heal from their nightmare, really. And their stories are all different. There's a lot of children that are in foster care, and that's why I also work with kids in foster care. And actually yesterday, I was sworn in as a court officer so that I can now go to court with children that have been taken from their homes.
Wow.
And then sit with them through their entire, case, so that you can make sure that they end up in a place where they will flourish and they will succeed and they get a chance.
Well, clearly this is a passion for you.
Definitely.
It's a dark thing to do. It's a dark industry. Obviously, it gives you some sort of feeling of gratitude to go out and help others and help kids and help families that are going through some sort of trouble. Is this something you think you're always going to be doing then too, now that you're in?
Definitely. Yeah, I have. There's so many empty spaces of things that need to be done. And it's frustrating too at times, because you see these missing and exploited children. And that's always, since I was little, it would always break my heart to see pictures of missing kids and things like that. And unfortunately now when they do go missing, I'll look at their picture and you just automatically think, oh gosh, they're getting, nabbed.
Did something
be
happen to
trafficked.
somebody that drove you into this, or it was just something that was near and dear to your heart?
No, like I said, since I was a kid, I just always felt so sorry for sick children. I used to watch those telethons. What was it, Jerry Lewis and St.
Yeah.
Jude? And I would just be glued to the TV. And I would, ask my mom if I could see her purse. Because, moms back then when we were growing up, you didn't go near their purse. Well, I wanted to go in and sneak a 10 or a 20 and send it off, in the mail to help these people, these kids. And so growing up, we had those milk cartons where, you would see the missing kids or the benches, and it just always really just tore at my heart. And then remember the Sean Hornbeck.
Oh yeah, here in the St. Louis area.
Yes. So I will never ever forget that day that they found that child. I get chills when I think about it. That was absolutely horrible. And so the word trafficked wasn't used then, but this kid, that was definitely, he was being exploited, trafficked, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
But I just remember feeling like no child should ever have to go through something so horrible like that.
And it's not just from the St. Louis standpoint. We've got another massive issue that's going on. And, you got to call things out when they're there. For example, this administration and Joe Biden and everything that's happened over the last 3 years. It is a massive problem. And when you told me a number of 85,000 missing kids, what number does that represent? Does that represent kids who've come across the border? Does that represent kids all throughout this country? Because 85,000 unaccounted for kids,
Yeah.
that's mind-boggling. That should give everybody chills. What the hell is going on, Megan?
So we have, kids that are living that were born and raised in the United States that go missing all the time. So in addition to that number, since we've had this open border now, and I don't even know if we should call it a policy. It sure doesn't sound like a policy to me to be letting, troves and troves of children and people coming in. So what has happened now is since Biden has been in his administration, there are 85,000 unaccounted for children. So you ask why, how does that happen? Well, we don't really know, but the excuse is that, people, Mayorkas, other individuals, they will say is that their supporters or their sponsors, because all of a sudden now there's this huge, I don't know anybody, but there's this huge number of sponsors that are sponsoring all of these illegal immigrants. And so the excuse is that they don't want to answer their phone when there is a welfare check on these children because it's a government number. Now,
You've got to be kidding.
Oh no.
What are you going to say, Pro Joe?
It's not quite Friday yet, but
we're close enough.
What's the guy's name that talks about interdimensional child molesters? Oh my God.
Oh, InfoWars?
Yeah, that guy. It makes you wonder if he's right. These elite people are, just nabbing up kids and
Robert's already brought up
eating their adrenal glands or something.
Well, adrenochrome,
right?
Robert's already brought that up too. But
yeah,
do you hear stories of that?
So I get people that want to tell me stories all the time, and a lot of it are conspiracy theories and things like that, and about all of these different cults that are wanting to take children at a certain age, babies, to get the things that are going to make them feel good, look good. And to be honest, I don't put a whole lot into that, but gosh, there are a lot of people that believe that and seem to have evidence.
He's been right about everything else.
No, he hasn't.
Well, almost everything.
No, he's spending millions of dollars of his own money now to pay off because he tried to say that.
That one thing about
that Sandy Hook never happened.
Yeah.
Well, that's just crazy.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's why he lost my credibility. Even
Gotcha.
he could say 99 things out of 100 that are right, but that one.
That's what I'm saying. That one thing. I mean, he's been right. His
But
stats are pretty
yeah, I
overwhelming.
mean, I didn't mean not to get off Alex Jones, not to get off subject.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, Kevin.
Yeah.
And by the way, thank you, Jill, for letting us know about your daughter being targeted, which is what Megan was talking about as well.
Yeah. So as far as the missing children that are here, I don't know how this is going to be resolved or if it's ever going to be resolved. But the facts are that when there is an emigration of people into places, we'll use Ukraine, for instance. So Poland has even put out a mass warning about the trafficking that is happening since the war started. So what happens when people are displaced or they don't have money? So you're, financial destitute, you have nothing. So this is when these people come, and whether they offer help, housing, money, it's not true. And so that whether it's children or women, it's usually children and women, but they will get enticed. Well, I'll help you find a place to live. I'll give you food, anything to make them have some sort of trust in these people. And that's when they then are being used for exploitation, whether it's labor or sex or whatever. So you can look at all of these different countries that have had, major immigrations and refugees, that the refugee camps are just, a haven for these people. So then what you have to do is you have to look then at our border crisis, and you've got people coming in from all over now. I mean, just anywhere and everywhere, and they're coming in, and there are literally people just waiting there. Now, the smugglers themselves can be some of the people that are actually doing the exploiting. So you get them here, you get them where they need to be, then you say you need to pay more. Oh, well, I don't have money, of course. Well, okay, well, then you're going to need to do this. And that's when, it's a deep, dark tunnel.
Well, it's such an interesting
evil
thing that you bring up, Megan, too, because we're talking about refugees, and that's a big topic right now, not only across the country, but in the state of Missouri. St. Louis City Mayor Tashara Jones wanting refugees to come in. Where can refugees go? Where can they not go? Yesterday, I think Lizzie and Derek were talking a little bit about it. I mean, even Governor Parson has come out, the governor of the state of Missouri, and said, listen, I can't stop the government from placing refugees wherever they want. Then you have other conservative politicians telling Parson that he's a rhino, that he doesn't care. That's a government rule.
Right.
But then you get refugees that are coming in, and we know that so many problems can branch off refugees. The one you're specifically talking about is the sex industry, the sex trafficking, and God, how bad it is, especially with kids. So you're involved in this. Are you hearing stories, seeing stories of kids who are refugees now being brought in or being used from that standpoint throughout the St. Louis metropolitan area?
Oh, absolutely. There are so many children right now that have been targeted. And in finding them before it's too late is the key. So, there's, like, I was just talking to one of our FBI St. Louis guys, and he's one of 7 that is on a team that is for trafficking and missing children. And he said the same thing. He said that with, these immigrants that are coming in, they can't even keep up with it. So the key is reporting it when you hear it. And you get so frustrated because there's just no way there, you just can't solve this problem. And then that leads into also, it's if there are these many children that are missing or being exploited, why doesn't everyone know about it? That's what gets me. So I turn on
how it isn't blown up on the news makes no sense to me whatsoever.
Absolutely. I turn on the local news, and I'm getting emailed from National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, the missing children in my neighborhood, like my local community. Yet it's not on the local news or on billboards. So that's another whole part of this.
Do you have any extra time?
Well,
We got studio open right after this.
really?
Yeah, no, and I'm serious. You are jumping into this. You didn't have to do this. You're a mom. You're a wife. You had a long career as a stylist, over 2 decades, pushing 3 decades,
Mhm.
and you're jumping in doing this. It's amazing that you have a heart to do this, that God has given you this heart. Why not? And if you see a problem, if you see an issue, because you're already a go-getter, we see what's happening with that. If you know names, if you know people, you know stories, I could not imagine being a parent of a child that either felt pressure to go off and do this or was taken by some point in time. Why not? If there's a chance for you to bring that out, there you go. Why not? Because you're right, media doesn't continue to cover, or at least local, but local media isn't the same as it was. I mean, we're as popular now doing podcasting and live shows as anybody else. And yes, we have credibility, if not more.
Right. Jill, I see your question to me about Agent Root. And yes, that's exactly who I'm talking about. Wonderful guy. Also, before he got accepted into the FBI at a very young age, he said one of the best things that he did was to be what it's called a CASA. And that's what I was sworn in as yesterday. So him and his wife did that. So they were able, before he started the FBI, they were able to go to court and help these children get placed in a permanent home. So yeah, he's a great guy. I'm actually taking my son there over break, so to tour the local
Well,
office.
how can people get involved and help you or do something that you're doing right now if they could? Because I mean, I look down the line and there's so many people complimenting you, thanking you, Megan, for what you're doing to raise awareness, to make things safer. Because I think it's fair to say, after listening to you talk, this isn't going to get, I mean, it's only going to be a bigger challenge, especially if refugees are coming to the state of Missouri,
Absolutely.
to St. Louis, around the country. The border's still wide open as long as Joe Biden's there. We've already seen how many people are coming in. We've been talking about, Chinese nationalists and people from different countries. And obviously you've got the cartels, all kinds of things, crime, you name it. And then, on top of it all, yeah, now we've got the kids being trafficked as well.
Right. And so really the best thing that people can do is educate themselves. Number one, not everybody is going to be able to go out and either chase down the people that are doing the exploitation, and not everybody is going to be able to work face to face with the victims. But to educate yourself, find out how it's happening, prevent yourself from getting into a situation like that, or a child, whether you're a teacher, whether you're in law enforcement, you work in a hospital. There are so many different places that people need to be aware, need to know what to look for. And in order to do a lot of these, to educate and to go around and to educate all of these different people, is money, finances. If you don't have time to actually physically go and attend something or do something, money, because the more that we have, the more that we can do. And we only get funded so much money from the government to do certain projects. So there are so many things that I want to do, and that we cannot use, grants. So it has to be money that we use, and then we can take that money forward. And I have a list of things that need to get done and we need to find legislation for.
How can people, do you work with lobbyists at all?
Well, so that's the next thing on the list.
I mean, it's a necessity if you're going to get anything done.
It is. And so if anyone is a lobbyist and feels passionate about this, contact us at Gateway Alliance.
And how can
human
people
trafficking?
Gateway Alliance what? I'm sorry to interrupt.
Gateway Alliance Against Human Trafficking. So GAHT.com, or you can message me. You can message me directly, and we can go from there. And also, I see a lot of questions too that are running through here. And someone asked how do we find the victims, I think was the question, or how
There was
do we
one of
come in
those.
contact? So there's a lot of different ways. Usually, unfortunately, what happens when we find a victim, I'm going to use the young girls that fall prey to this in our area, have been repeatedly in trouble with the law. So when you are in this life, and again, a lot of them don't come from the best upbringing anyway. They've been abused or neglected in some way, shape, or form. And so then when you are now entering this life, whether it's drugs, alcohol, whatever it is, you're a hustler. And so you are going into places and you might be shoplifting, you might be stealing, you might be fighting with someone. There are so many different situations. And so it tends to get to a point where you've been taken in and then you get a case manager assigned to you. And then you need to decide what is going to be best for this child. Is it going to be going to juvenile detention center, or can we start where we are, and send these kids to a residential home and hopefully, get them moving into a better life. Now, the sad thing is as well is that a lot of these girls, it's hard to be isolated, to not have your phone, to constantly be monitored, whether it's audio or camera. You're always being watched and listened to because you want to make sure that these girls are not getting involved or talking to people that they were involved with, and sometimes they don't want to be there. And we've had a few that have gotten day passes with a foster parent or with an approved person, and they have literally gotten a hold of the phone some way, somehow, jumped in a car and gone. And that's it. So it's a really it's a fine line of wanting these children to feel like they need to be helped and to do the right things, but at the same time, they've been used to living a completely different life. And so my whole goal is to make sure that these kids don't get into that life.
I want to ask you one more question on this before we
Mhm.
move on to another topic today. Do you know personal family or families right now personally that are looking for people that you're actively, or your group is actively trying to reconnect them for whatever reason? And if you do, what are those emotions like?
What exactly do you mean?
Missing.
Reconnecting?
They've been trafficked. They're gone. They're in and out. They're not as they should be.
Oh, definitely. There's a lot of different people that I talk to on a regular basis, and they're just different stories and different, parents, mothers, fathers, that their children have been missing. Sometimes they might know that they're alive. Sometimes they have absolutely no idea. And just to try and reach them and to let them know that they have support can be one of the hardest things to do, because again, once you start living that life, it can be really hard to keep those relationships with family, with friends, and people that love and want to support you. But gosh, the numbers are too high to count of how many people are looking for their kids or family members.
I could not imagine doing that. And I guess, does your family feel more comfortable with what you're doing now than they did when you first started?
Most definitely. Yeah, absolutely. It's funny because I even get it from my family members. They say, well, gosh, you put all this time and effort into helping, these people, but are they going to go back to that life?
And that's a
So
possibility, and
it
they do.
definitely is. And
I got a feeling I know where you're going with this.
yeah, and just, you're there's so many, and you're putting all of this, emotion and time into it, and is it going to be beneficial? There's so many, the numbers are so high, and for me, it truly is about helping just one person. So if I can help just one person or just one family get their child back, or to prevent their child from being trafficked, to notice what's happening and get them help before it's too late, that it's all worthwhile to me.
Gosh, and I appreciate you and what everybody else is saying too, Megan, for what you do and continuing to do. Once again, how can people get in contact with you? Again, the best way so that if they want to jump on your team or see if there's a way to help other people, what they can do.
So you can, if you're on Facebook and you see my name, it's Megan Marie, and you can message me there directly, or you can go to GAHT.com. I think it's .com, or we just changed it. It was Gateway. It was really a long name, but it's GAHT, and that's a local it's a local group here, and we try to educate as many people as we can and create awareness. And there's actually also on the GAHT, there is a place where if you are a victim or you have questions or you think you're being trafficked, there is a number there for help.
Well, we are grateful for that. Megan Marie, that's again Megan Marie, Megan Moret. She is in today. Catch Megan Marie on Facebook. You may have seen her before jumping in on our show, and we're grateful for that. Do you know who Laura Loomis is?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Has anybody ever told you with your glasses and you've got a Laura,
Really?
yeah, a little Laura Loomis look
Oh,
going on
that's
there?
funny. Okay.
Just a little bit with
Yeah.
that. That's funny.
Yeah.
I mean, I see it. Also, if you want to check out with her, back her, do what you can, and then who knows? We'll talk about maybe you doing this more at some point in time.
Sure, I would
mean,
love
that's your
to.
specialty.
This is great, and I hope that if because I'm not seeing all of your questions, but if I promise that later I will check them and get back to you, because the one time that I was on the phone when you when you guys had me on the phone, there were a lot of questions and comments in regards to the Israel Hamas war. And so I hope that I answered those questions, but if I didn't, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, well, we get a lot of questions. We have a great interactive audience, as you know. I
Yeah,
mean, you jumped a
yeah.
part of it. We appreciate the audience.
Mhm.
And by the way, speaking of the audience, I had 3 different people tell me today, "Oh, we didn't get the Facebook link today like we normally get." Hey, just if you know somebody that's a friend of yours that's normally on, like, subscribe, share the show. Let them know if there was ever a day to share it. Right now is certainly that day to share, just to make sure that everybody got their link, because I did get 3 different messages, and you said you didn't have, and sometimes Facebook does that.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't get the, because that's what it it bings me in the morning. So I'm, racing around doing a million things. I have no idea what time it is. So when I get that Facebook Live, it's coming, cancel this is coming on. That's how I know. And so that's when I hop on. I didn't have that yesterday.
Yeah, I had a couple of those as well today. So just want to remind everybody, like, subscribe, share the show, let people know what's going on, especially with information that we just had that Megan was talking about from that standpoint. Once again, Megan Brett filling in today for Lizzie. Lizzie is with her family as they have a wake and viewing and funeral for her stepfather, or not stepfather, her father-in-law, excuse me, David's dad. David Sparks. So we appreciate Megan jumping in last second to talk about such an important topic as what's happening with trafficking. And shame on Joe Biden, shame on the Biden administration, because yes, when you leave an open border, these are the kind of things that happen. It's already an issue before you have an open border. And these are the things that should be talked about on a daily basis, and they're not. People's lives, people's feelings, people's emotions being destroyed day in, day out because of trafficking and everything else that goes with it. So grateful to have Megan jumping in, doing what she's doing today, talking to us about those things that happen in life. And of course, how people can also help. I couldn't imagine as a dad dealing. And by the way, this isn't just women, it's also men. It's not just girls, it's boys. That's what blew my mind the first time I did a story when I worked in the local news business, when a woman at a local agency said, "Vic, it's boys. It's boys too." And there's an ever increasing amount of boys that are in this as well. And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like, young boys. She's like, young boys, teenage boys.
Absolutely.
You name it.
Well, Glenn Beck.
Yes.
Glenn Beck is, his son was, he was a victim of exploitation, and it was happening under his own roof. And he was, brave enough to come out and talk about it and, tell his experience and how to make sure that it doesn't happen. And those are the conversations that need to be had and heard.
Yeah.
But most definitely.
I know a lot of parents that would be killing people. And
that's
I know,
right.
And that's not me putting it over the top. That's me being dead honest, and we have seen that happen as well.
Yeah. And real quick, Christy Ledauer, she asked me, when the victims go to homes, what's the success rate? And honestly, I don't have that number, Christy. Because we are the only restoration home in St. Louis, I want to say Missouri, that does this. And so the success rate would be only, it would have to be such a future driven number, because it takes time to make sure that these people don't get back into it. So I wouldn't even know the exact number for that.
I just wanted to remind everybody, we appreciate everybody who jumps in and watches every day. This is cancelthisshow.com. I'm Vic Faust with Megan Murrett, who's in today, Projo in the house as well. Special thanks to our sponsors, Amini's. Amini's, your leading supplier in traditional infrared saunas and saltwater hot tubs. I mean, we've talked so many times about the benefits of sauna, and we'll continue to do that. And when you go to our partners page at cancelthisshow.com, once again, cancelthisshow.com, we have the context. It takes you right to their webpage, and they know that you're looking from our standpoint, complete auto body repair, the fastest growing auto service center in the region, 7 climate controlled facilities for people to go to and or work in. They've got over 60 jobs right now, good paying jobs in a variety of industries. Experienced real estate partners, Kathy Hobig-Strick, Steve Strick, they were in yesterday talking all about the mortgage industry, what's happening from a real estate standpoint, and of course, the side business, which is totally kicking ass, the New Age Health Wellness, newagehealthwellness.com, when it comes to getting your blood checked to make sure that you have as much energy and that you're as healthy as you can possibly be. Also, Route 66 Cannabis, Patrick from Ostara, the Ostara line brand, was in yesterday. The fast lane to the Midwest premier cannabis shopping experience. They've got 5 locations throughout the St. Louis area. And by the way, when you go in, if you tell them that you heard about them on Cancel This, you're going to get a discount. By the way, Joe, did you know? Maybe I know something about cannabis you don't. The National Cannabis Meeting is going on right now.
Yeah, you definitely knew that.
In Vegas, baby. I got you on one.
I don't follow the meetings, man.
Yeah. They're deciding what's going to happen for you in the future. Solar City STL, making renewable energy part of your life. They say let the heavy lifting be done by them. If you've wondered if you want to get off the grid, this is an opportunity for you to check it out. It's not for everybody, but it is for others. And there's a reason why they're booked. And I've talked to people who had it and they said, yeah, it's working great for us. And we hope it continues to stay that way because they used a lot of electricity. Number one, it gives them a chance to get off the grid. Number two, a chance to save money over a long period of time. Solar City STL, Justin Talavas. Trust Strategic Air Services. You can trust them for your premier private transportation providers in all things aviation. We've got the contact there. It's where we broadcast live out of. And by the way, they're always looking for pilots. Terrific place to work. Kevin runs it like a fine-tooth comb. WeQuip, the person-to-person, peer-to-peer rental marketplace where renters can go to search for items that they need in their neighborhoods. If you haven't checked out the website, check it out. It's fascinating what people will rent and what you can rent, and let your mind just go wild and think you've got things in your house that you can put up. You've got things that, oh yeah, I could use that for a party. Oh yeah, I've always wanted to do that, but maybe I didn't have the money to go get that right now. You may find it. And of course, Wenty's in the Chesterfield Valley. Some of the best pizza, burgers, wings, smoked meats that you're going to find. You can smell it a mile away. There's a reason why there's always cars in the parking lot, because people love it.
Was just there yesterday eating my wings.
Outdoor entertainment, a massive patio as well, a heated patio for the winter as well, and entertainment Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. This is Cancel This again, cancelthisshow.com. I'm Vic Faust with Megan Murrett, who's in today for Lizzie. Projo in the house as well. We appreciated talking about what's happening with the sex trafficking industry, which Biden is responsible for. And we will say that because 85,000 kids have gone missing. And before we moved on to that, you wanted to play a clip, and it's a few minutes. Is this Senator Marsha Blackburn?
It is.
And what is she, and who is she talking to? Do you remember who she's talking to? Is it the director of, I can't remember who it's the director of.
Well, so she had a lot of different people that were there that day. And basically what she's wanting to know the answers to are, how are these children that are coming in and apparently going through the due process, how are they being how are they disappearing? How are they just literally no one knows where they are, what they're doing. And so there were several different people, but this woman on here, she's the head of, or not of all of the what would that, the
Well, this is
processing of
yeah.
the children when they come in.
Oh,
So
yeah, and this was a Senate Judiciary hearing, so this is big. Listen to Marcia talk to this woman about what is happening and just how embarrassing it is. To wrap up what we're talking about when it comes to kids being trafficked and lost.
About these children that they just can't find. Now, first letter, he got Acting Assistant Secretary Jeff Hill to send a non-response to my office. And then I sent another letter, and I haven't heard anything from him. I have asked that he come to the committee and talk to us about what has happened with these 85,000 children, where they are, and why efforts are not being made to find them and to be certain that they are being cared for. But there's no response to that, because there again, you all believe in open borders. Your goal is not to secure the country and the border. Your goal is to just let everybody come on in, and to hell with this trying to find 85,000 kids. You didn't vet the sponsors right. You did not do an FBI background check. Imagine that. You loosen what is required of people, and then you want to come here and say, we need more money so we can do our job. All right, Ms. Director Marcos, Linda Brandmiller, do you know that name?
Show your daughter how much you love her with this beautiful gift. It says, "To my daughter, never forget that I love you forever. I hope that you believe in yourself as much as I believe in you."
Well, that was a commercial that popped in all of a sudden.
Whenever
They
you feel
fed that to us when we listened to
remember
the
whose
sound
daughter
that
you are and straighten your
wasn't there. So that popped in for a commercial. You got the idea of what she was talking about. The woman had no answer, zero answer. She's like, and then Marsha Blackburn continues to just grill her, as she should, because there has been so much irresponsibility. I mean, 85,000 kids? I don't even know. How do you even come up with that number?
Right. Well, and if you, the woman's response was that literally it's that people aren't answering their phone. That the sponsors and the people that are responsible for these children, because
There's no way.
they're all in a safe place,
No
all
way.
85,000 kids are all in a safe place, but these people just aren't answering the phone because they see that it's a government number. Well, if you were a sponsor and you knew that you were responsible for children and you were under the government's thumb, wouldn't you think that you would answer a phone call?
Yeah, of course you would.
I mean, it's crazy. And the sponsors are probably getting free cell phones too, just like the immigrants that are coming in. Who knows what the situation is. But this woman said that, she's always, been a human rights activist, and she's always wanted to do right by everyone, yet nobody has any answers.
Yeah, and especially Joe Biden. Joe Biden never has any answers, and this has happened under his watch, and we've talked about it before. The problem we have is the fact that you have a man who the deep state knows they can blame everything on. He's going to be gone before too long, and I know that sounds callous of me saying, but what better way than to destroy this country and start the destruction of several areas, several industries, several different items within our country, and then, oh, that was Joe Biden, but not until years after the fact. Oh, well, that was Joe Biden's fault. That was Joe Biden's fault. The fall guy, his coked out, drugged up, messed up son can also be a fall guy too, because nobody's going to take him seriously.
It looks like our chat hasn't worked since about 8:40.
So okay.
Yeah. Somebody's doing something.
Wow.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. I
Well,
wonder why that would have happened.
Now, I did see that Todd asked, though.
Oh, sex trafficking, kid trafficking. I mean, this is an important thing for them to block.
Well, we may have Facebook still, but we're talking about the overall show.
Oh.
Yeah. And I don't know. I looked down and mine was gone. And I was like, I don't remember clicking anything.
And now that I'm noticing, we haven't received anything in chat as far as what I can see since 8:40.
Wow.
Okay. Hey, that kind of stuff happens every now and then. We're going to continue to do what we do. It is interesting that that's going on, but once again, we're grateful for you guys being a part of this show. So you can, I know we have people everywhere. If you need to, you can also, if you wanted to jump in, we can try to see you on Facebook, I think. Maybe did it go down there too?
No, it's still going up.
Okay, it's still going on Facebook, because I know we have several people who listen on Clout Hub, on YouTube, on Rumble.
It shows we're still streaming everywhere.
On Twitter.
It's just for some reason chat, at least with the chat with the software that we use here in studio, is not working. We can usually see everybody's comments.
And we do appreciate everybody liking, subscribing, sharing the show for what we're doing here at the show. Okay, Joe Biden yesterday was an absolute fool yet again. I mean, every week there's something going on where he just loses his freaking mind. The first one I wanted to show today was about a Marine. He literally goes, he was at an event for windmill energy.
Yeah.
And he goes up to a construction guy and listen to what he says about, I mean, this is what's scary. This guy, you want to talk about Donald Trump near the keyboard and the box and the nuclear weapon button. Yeah, Donald Trump is 100% when it comes to that from a trustworthy standpoint. Joe Biden, more like a 1%. Listen to what he told the guy.
This is Nick. Hey, Nick. This is Nick Hardy. Now look, my Marine carries that. It has a code to blow up the world. That doesn't. This is not nuclear weapons, is it? All right, okay. By the way, you think I'm kidding? I think they're creating up.
Okay, my Marine has a code to blow up the world.
Yeah. Okay. What
the whole thing is wrong.
What does he say after Marine? Because I tried yesterday when I first heard it, listening. I probably listened to it 6 times. He says, "My Marine." He says something. What comes after Marine? Does
Megan.
Anyone know?
No, Megan. If you thought that was bad, here is his battle with the teleprompter yesterday. It was a real bad day. Obviously, he didn't get his shots. They shoot him up with something. The deep state, his handlers. I'm convinced Obama, he's the one that's popping the needles in him to make sure that he is all right.
Yeah.
Because here's the problem that we have now. Joe Biden, he's losing the battle with teleprompters. If he doesn't have a teleprompter, he can't public speak. And if he has a teleprompter, he is really effed. We'll give all of our free merchandise that's still sitting around in our massive warehouse if you can tell us what Joe Biden just said.
Here in Colorado, the wind turbine manufacturing Vistas is investing $40 million to expand its factory and hire an additional 1,000 employees. Solar manufacturer Meyer Burger is building a new solar cell factory just down the road in Colorado Springs. Here in Colorado, the wind turbine manufacturing Vistas is investing $40 million to expand its factory and hire an additional 1,000 employees. Solar manufacturer Meyer Burger is building a new solar cell factory just down the road in Colorado Springs. Here in Colorado.
Oh my gosh.
There's your president. Well, I shouldn't say here. There is the selected president of the United States right now. Yes, it's funny. Yes, it's sad. Yes, it's bad. All the above. And he gets worse and worse and worse. But they continue to let him go.
And I hate to laugh at an older person that is obviously, having issues. It's hard. But I keep thinking like about the SNL skits. Whenever I see him, that is exactly what I think of. And then I find myself literally just cracking up out loud. I feel terrible for
the joke's
him.
On America, Megan.
Yeah, but these people that are putting him out there, shame on them. It's terrible.
No,
it really is.
But guess what? There's yet another one. He wasn't done. The trifecta coming from Joe Biden, because Joe Biden he does that kind of stuff. Okay, here's Joe Biden. He wasn't done. Here's Joe Biden talking about Donald Trump, and listen to what he calls Donald Trump. This is a quick soundbite, but we'll play it, and Joe will play it over and over again so you can hear it, because it's only about 3 seconds. But here's Joe Biden on Donald Trump.
Instead of cutting them, or like Congressman Trump and Bo want to do. Instead of cutting them, or like Congressman Trump and Bo want to do. Instead of cutting them, or like Congressman Trump and Bo wanted.
When did Donald Trump get into Congress? He's now a congressman?
Well, who's the who? What did he say after? What is that?
The boat.
So, if anybody can decipher the Biden
Charlie Brown's
Bidenism,
Instead of cutting
professor.
them, or like Congressman Trump and Bo wanted to do. Instead of cutting them, or like Congressman Trump and Bo wanted to do. Trump and Bo
This was
Trump
nowhere
and Bo
on world
wanted to
news
do.
or national news, unfortunately, like I always say. That's why we love what we do. We want to continue to do what we do because we're going to show you the full story. You're going to see the sound bites. I did see the soundbite about the Marine on some national publication, but not everything else. Not calling Donald Trump a congressman and certainly not being able to finish a full sentence.
You know, Megan, I do have a quick question here because I'm trying to go to the website that we're giving out for people, and there's no website at any of those. Like if I try .com, .org, or .net, GAHT.com, org, or net, there's nothing.
You know what? Well, we just changed it, so it might be. Did you try .org?
I did try .org.
Okay, hold on. Let me look real quick.
And you're talking about from the trafficking aspect to try to help people.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, if maybe there's a bigger
Hang on
thing involved.
You know what I love about you? You're constantly thinking about a conspiracy.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Hey man, you got to keep your head on a swivel, right?
We were told that by FBI Director Chris Wray. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
But that was for all the illegal aliens that are coming into America, coming into Missouri, coming into St. Louis, coming into St. Charles, and we'll talk about that at 9:40 with St. Charles St. Charles County Councilman Joe Brazel.
Okay, I found it, and I am so sorry because I forgot the Mo. Like I said, it just recently was changed, so it's GAHTMO.org.
Thank you, Joe, for trying to take care of that.
I just wanted to make sure that we were getting the right information.
I appreciate that so much.
Hey, by the way, did I send you another soundbite about Joe Biden? I don't know if we had it or not. If I sent it, great. It was about Thanksgiving dinner. If we have it, let me know. If we don't, that's fine. Yeah. Okay. He also did a presser 2 days ago on the 27th. Mm-hmm. He literally claimed that this year your Thanksgiving dinner was the fourth cheapest in history.
That's right. And you know what? Hey,
no effing way.
Well, now listen. So I thought about this though.
Okay.
And he might be actually spot on.
Okay.
And here's why. The last few years, people and families absolutely can't stand each other because everyone's talking about COVID, politics, everything. So, and they've been saying for the last several years, you know what? Don't do Thanksgiving this year. Don't do Christmas this year. Don't do all these.
Are you serious?
Well, yeah. For the last
that's terrible
several years, they kept saying, let's just don't have anybody over. Everybody's probably sick. You're going to infect everyone.
You mean media stories and.
Well, that and our leaders. And so what's happened now is, if you're only having 4 people over for Thanksgiving, it probably is the cheapest
I get it.
in history.
Yeah.
Because nobody's there. Nobody wants to come over anymore.
No. If you're eating turkey, the turkeys were not the fourth cheapest ever. And that's what the administration was trying to use as, hey, vote for us. Things are good. This is the fourth cheapest Thanksgiving dinner you're ever going to have or we've had to this point in time. Mm-hmm. I'm not buying it for a second, but regardless, it's the Biden administration. And those are the kind of things that we're being told about right now. Hey, by the way, and we're speaking of politics before we move on to a couple other things. There's a debate tonight, and I am not all in on this. I'm sorry. You've got Ron DeSantis and Gavin Newsom, hosted by Sean Hannity, on Fox News without an audience. So they're going to be there. It's a power trip. I still don't get it. I'll be watching Thursday Night Football. I will not be watching this debate. Nothing is going to come out of this debate. This was these two guys. I still don't know who put this together. Obviously Fox, because DeSantis was their guy. And then now he's battling almost 60 points behind now he's in danger of being the third candidate behind Nikki Haley. So it's going to be a ratings disaster. I don't like it. It's an attempt for DeSantis to try to break out or have his breakout moment, in my humble opinion, and maybe deflect some attention from Trump. It just, I'm not feeling it. The Great
Me
Red
either.
versus the Great Blue debate. That's what they're calling it tonight.
Right. And what's so funny is Newsom's not even on the ballot, and
Yeah.
we're doing a debate. What are we?
Yeah, they're
What are
giving
we
him
debating?
Yes, they're giving him publicity.
Right.
Fox News, what are you doing?
Right. And so I just think it's really, it's ironic that all of a sudden we're doing a debate with Gavin Newsom, and he's been the ringleader lately for hosting all of
Oh,
these
yeah, he has.
foreign, these foreign officials and foreign leaders. And I guess he thinks that he ought to go out now and talk about himself, since he cleaned up, his state a little bit for visitors.
But we've talked about this before, how bad the Republican National Committee is. Ronna McDaniel, she probably needs to go.
Mhm.
I don't ever want to see somebody lose their job, but she just can't do it. She can't do the job. They're a disaster. Not only are they a disaster, their last Republican debate was one of the least watched debates in the history of debates for Republicans, because Trump's not there and he's your candidate. Nobody else has a shot.
Mhm.
A measly 7.5 million people watched that debate. Way, way down. And guess what the Republican National Committee did? They also put it on the same night as the Country Music Awards, which blew them out with the rating standpoint. Blew them out.
Mhm.
Why would you put that on the same night as the Country Music Awards? Really? And by the way, at the end of October, the totals and how much they have in their coffers right now for the Republican National Convention, it's the lowest in 8 years. It's down under $9 million, which is very, very, very low, by the way. The Democratic National Party, their convention, they're pushing 20 million. So once again, it just shows what I say before. Republicans are not managing things correctly, and they don't have people spending money to help their causes. And Republicans are showing they don't like the RNC leadership.
Right.
Yet nothing's being done. Nothing is being changed right now.
Well, Ronna, she is just not a happy person. I mean, she can just be downright mean. She is not an inviting Republican.
Well, the worst thing that she did, Megan, was the fact that she went to CNN and did an interview about how the Republican Party is, well, we're so good. Oh, really? Like, oh, and they're really going to give you guys publicity? Not hardly.
Yeah.
Something else that's been going on too, and we talk about a love of America. We talk about young kids, where they're going. You have younger kids, Megan. I have college-age kids and high school kids. Do they love America? Do they care about America? Do they understand? Have we made it so easy for them because they've never really understood or saw, I mean, a lot of people, what it's like to really struggle when it comes to a freedom standpoint. I love when we get people who are willing to come out and speak about it. And you got to have what we call the FU money and the FU status to say things like this so that people can't cancel you. If you're not worried about being canceled or losing something, or if somebody can't cancel you, then you have a lot more power. We have seen that happen. Well, we've got Dana White calling out younger kids about their generations of bashing the United States. And he's mocking them for, quote, being afraid of Donald Trump, because there is this idea out there where people are afraid of Donald Trump for whatever reason with younger kids. Oh, well, Trump. Well, here you go. Here is, I love this, Dana White talking about this situation.
If you look at all the shit that's going on in the world right now, if we went to war, there's no respect for the police anymore. There's no respect for the military, our country, our way of life that we have here. You can sit around and you can pick, nitpick and talk about things that are wrong with the United States. Let me tell you something. I'm going to tell fucking your generation, my generation, everybody's generation. This is it. So all these fucking people are like, oh God, if President Trump wins, I'm fucking leaving the country. They all say it. Nobody fucking does it. If you look at all the shit that's going on in the world.
I mean, and when I saw that, I sent it to my college daughter. My son doesn't need it. My daughter needs it. So I sent it to her, and I hope that she'll send it out. I don't know if she will. Worst case scenario, at least she can hear it, because Dana White's right.
Oh, absolutely.
We've lost, or we have a younger generation that gets caught up in these media messages. Thank you, Dana White, for having the balls to come out and say that.
Right. Well, I think that a lot of it is there are so many topics in bandwagons that these young people can jump on, and it usually comes from a liberal point of view. Because when you are being, quote unquote, oppressed, or people are bullying you, or, treating you badly, there's more of an opportunity to run around and say all of these things versus being on a truth side of things. I think that there's just not as much attention to be given when children or kids are running around talking about government politics and in truth, and it's just easier for them to believe.
But they don't have candidates. They
Yeah,
don't have Democrat
true.
candidates at the national level to cheer for. They don't have anybody. Mark Cuban may be one of those.
Mhm.
Clay Travis from Outkick coverage, he posted a video yesterday. I did see this. All of a sudden, within a few days of one another, Mark Cuban sells the Dallas Mavericks for about $3 billion to the Edelson family, gambling family, Republican family, by the way. Joe's giving me a look like, huh.
Yeah, I don't know what video you're talking about.
No, there's no video.
Oh, well, you said this video. Okay.
And so Cuban sells them. Then he steps down from the Shark Tank after 16 years, all within a couple days of each other.
Mm-hmm.
Clay thinks, and he brought this up, and I give him credit for it, that he's making a run for president for the Democratic Party to go after Joe Biden, to make sure that he has about $1 billion. Michael Bloomberg did that with out of New York a few years back. I mean, it didn't go very well. He was leading some polls for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But Mark Cuban's the type of guy, he understands media. He understands kids and the messaging.
Yeah.
I think he can, made me think about that, Megan, is the fact that I could totally see him going after younger kids to try to knock out Joe Biden, because clearly he sees that Joe Biden's not there and he's not going to be running.
And maybe he has that way in to reach the younger people.
Yeah, I don't want to interrupt the show here, but an update on our technical difficulties as far as the chat goes. You can continue the conversation if you go over to YouTube. YouTube chat is working for some reason. Facebook.
So is Facebook. No, Facebook's working.
I'm not seeing it here.
Oh, really?
Not on this end, no.
Okay, I know we had some of those issues, and it's interesting. We bring them up. Even the best shows in America have. Joe Rogan does. Ours just kind of happened out of nowhere, and we were talking about child sex trafficking.
Yeah.
We're like,
odd.
It is very odd, but we're grateful for everybody jumping in as you do and keeping us posted from that standpoint. The cancel culture people are going to be out there all the time. And that's part of that messaging as well. Kids are like, oh, peer pressure. Oh, thank God Dana White came out and said, F you, get with the freaking program. You stop being afraid. Stop saying this, stop saying that. But then kids also see the media trying to cancel Elon Musk. Right. I mean, advertisers going after his product because of whether you agree with what Elon says, whether you don't agree. I'm just glad. And I found this soundbite to be quite entertaining. Elon Musk with a message for the advertisers and people who are trying to cancel him by taking away his First Amendment right. Mm-hmm. Oh, you don't have?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I didn't know what you were talking about. Yeah. Okay, I'll get that to you here in just a second, buddy. I had sent it to you yesterday, but it did not go through. Sorry about that.
No, that's all good.
That's when we were going through it. But Elon totally goes after. And your thoughts on Elon?
So Elon, and you really have to look into the initial X tweet that he was basically supporting a tweet that was given out, and it was someone else's view on why there is the anger.
You have that now, Joe.
The anti-Semitism. So, and basically what he said was, there's truth in that. And so in both sides, that's just the thing, is that right now people need to just take a minute. And I love the word pause that's been used the last week with, Israel and Hamas, because it's such a strong word, and it's a great word that everyone needs to use right now. Everybody just kind of needs to pause for a second and think about things instead of just reacting. And so it didn't seem to me like he was saying that he has anything against Jewish people. Was basically affirming that there could be more to
I agree
the
with what he said.
story.
I'm sorry.
Right.
You got to get to the bottom of everything all the time. You're allowed your First Amendment right.
Absolutely. And for someone like Disney to make a threat against Elon Musk, to me personally is hilarious, because they really don't have any room right now to be.
Here's Elon.
Talking.
Here's Elon with his thoughts.
You don't want them to advertise?
No.
What do you mean?
If somebody's going to try to blackmail me with advertising, blackmail me with money, go fuck yourself. But
thank you.
Go fuck yourself. Is that clear? I hope it is.
I think it's very fair.
You don't want them to
I got to hear it again.
Did you not hear me? Did you not understand?
If somebody's going to try to blackmail me with advertising, blackmail me with money, go fuck yourself. But go fuck yourself. Is that clear?
I would love to hang out for a night with Elon Musk. I'm not kidding.
He definitely
3
seems
hours.
like a different.
If anybody said if there's anybody living who you would give 3 hours to hang out with, Elon Musk would be at the top of my list.
Yeah,
he would be.
He is something else. And when you're
is he putting a little weight on too, or is that just the way he's
he
sitting?
looked like it.
I know it's easy to put weight on if we don't take care of ourselves. I mean, and he's working around the clock.
Doesn't he do jujitsu or something like that? So he could be bulking up. Maybe.
Well, since his fight with Mark Zuckerberg kind of went by the wayside, maybe he's let himself go a little bit.
Yeah. Wow.
But yeah, Elon for the win, no doubt about it. I know people think he's a cyborg. I know one of our viewers and listeners thinks that he's connected to the deep state. You guys are all entitled to your opinions. It is interesting, though, to see him come out and speak so what I would call, from an independent standpoint, even more right-leaning clearly than left-leaning, especially when it comes to First Amendment rights, Second Amendment rights, illegal immigrants coming into this country.
Yeah.
He gets it. He's calling it out.
Well, and he calls everything out. And I respect him for that. And I guess when you're a multi-billionaire and
he's got FU money.
Yeah, he does. He can say whatever he wants.
And we need more of those people to stand up and talk about those kinds of issues.
That's right.
When you don't agree, there's nothing wrong with you stating your opinion. There is nothing wrong with that. Back it with fact, be responsible.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? If anybody's going to come out and try to take away your right to say what you want, shame on them. This is America. This is what we're trying to do. Another issue, by the way, it's at 9:40. We're going to talk about the illegal immigrants coming into St. Charles, or possibly in the future, with St. Charles County Councilman Joe Brazel. He was all fired up about it. I was like, listen, Joe, we already talked about it earlier. He's like, no, we need to talk about it. I was like, fine, you want to come on and give your opinion about what it could really mean to give at least a symbolization and pass a vote. By the way, that vote was blocked by 3 Republicans against well, we'll let him talk about it just a little bit from that standpoint. Another very interesting issue, and this just goes to show it's not just America that's all messed up. Our world is messed up, especially when it can come to a faith standpoint.
Absolutely.
I've talked about this before because of my previous life of traveling and introducing archbishops from all around the country, all around the world, meeting and getting to know some cardinals, having their audience from Rome. There is good and there is bad in this world. And there is a fight that is continually taking place. And if you don't think for a second that there are not people who are trying to infiltrate the church, to change biblical meaning around, to change scripture around, to try to change what sacred tradition and sacred word has always been. And then in recent years, you'll hear the national media praise Pope Francis. Oh, he's a pope for the people. Is he? And then he's gone silent on a couple massive issues. Well, there have been some cardinals and archbishops who have called him out. And every time they've called him out, whether it's himself, I compare him a lot to Joe Biden. Joe Biden may not be making decisions, but there's people around Joe Biden who are making decisions. The same thing with Pope Francis. They won't give, they'll say, same-sex marriage is fine. But then they'll be like, wait a second, what about church teaching? Then he won't answer.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're like, well, we don't know, or be milquetoast. And then say, not only do we have this issue, but now, divorces are fine and annulments are good, but you can just get it. And then they're like, okay, we need specific incidents, because if you don't have black and white truth, then people can come in and say, well, I don't like that make them feel good. Archbishop Burke, the former Archbishop of St. Louis, called him out, has been calling out Joe Biden for a couple of years, saying that he can call himself a Catholic, that Nancy Pelosi can call herself a Catholic, John Kerry can call themselves, but they're not Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
They're known in the Catholic world as Sinos or Sinos, like rhinos in the Republican world.
Right.
A Republican in name only, a Catholic in name only. Well, Archbishop Burke said Biden will not and would never receive communion, the Eucharist, in any of his masses, and said nobody should give him that he's lying. He's not truly a Catholic because of what he has done, his leadership values and things from that standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he recently has called out Pope Francis. Well, Pope Francis took away all of his money and took away his apartment in Rome and scolded him. He did this with another priest 2 months ago who was the most vocal on TikTok, saying, wait a second, church teaching is going the way of liberals. It's not how it should be. Somebody has to stand up. What did they do to him? They took away his money. They took away his funding and said, you're causing problems in the church. So all of these issues, these subjects are a lot deeper than what they seem on the surface. I know Archbishop Burke, and whether people like him or not, or thought he was too staunch or too conservative, he is a very conservative man. I'm just going to tell you that right now. He is. He won't talk about that. There were some people in St. Louis that thought that he was too rigid. But I'm telling you, in this day and age, just like you need conservatives calling out the political side, you also need people in the faith who are calling out lackluster milquetoast messages when it comes to the faith. Because don't think for a second when you talk about end times that your faith cannot be used against you to try to get you to go to one side or the other.
Well, and what is too rigid? When you're speaking about your faith,
oh, come on, it's 2023. We should allow this just because that was the word. That's my example.
Yeah.
And you hear that with people. And this isn't a judgment session. It's about a cardinal calling out the bishop saying, or calling out the pope saying, listen, we need black and white. You're just throwing out, or your committee is throwing out these messages. And I'll also tell you this. I guess I can share this. Let's just say at those bishops' meetings, and I've said this before, the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops, there is a good and evil fight behind closed doors with gay priest, with holy priest, and how they're shocked, and they say that's a battle that's more of a dark battle versus light battle, and they try to call them out, but these battles are going on behind the scenes is about everybody's souls. And that evil has infiltrated into the church because they can't let the church be as it is. So they have to try to destroy the church so that people lose their faith.
Absolutely. And, it's hard because when you're trying to do right by your faith and you're trying to have a clear.
Yeah, it's hard enough.
Yeah. And then you get a pope that comes in. But I think Burke is speaking for a lot of people for the Catholic faith. They're confused.
What is it?
Because he comes in, and from the get-go, he was very liberal, and then he's just kind of started creeping in with more and more and more. And lately it's the support of the LGBTQ community. And that's great, because as Christians, everyone should love and embrace all people. But there are a lot of groups for people that you can join, and it doesn't have to be within a biblical factor, and so that's where things start to get really unclear. It's like, well, if we're Catholic, what does that mean? Now all of a sudden it's changed.
Well, what Burke has done is he joined two other conservative cardinals, and it's sad that you have to say conservative cardinals, but that's how the AP reported it, because he was issuing questions to Pope Francis saying, okay, in this day and age, we need clarity, and we're not getting clarity. So he wanted him to clarify his outreach to divorced and civility remarried Catholics. And Pope Francis refused to explain what he meant. Because the messages go out to the media, but behind the scenes, nobody knows what to do if you're trying to get an annulment.
Right.
Nobody knows what to do if you don't have an annulment, if you can actually receive the Eucharist, because it's not just we're just going to pop in, pop out, whatever, we'll do what we want. If you take on the faith, you take it serious. It's a commitment for your life and for Jesus Christ. And then he also called out whether same-sex couples could receive church blessings and receive conditional blessings that can come up if they're coming into church as well. And the Pope is refusing to answer. But yet, when he asked the questions, he's now had his money and his apartment taken away because he's calling out. So once again, from a faith standpoint, it just seems like there's so many damn issues in this world, especially with Raymond Burke, Cardinal Burke, who was the Archbishop of St. Louis. So a lot of people knew him when he was in the St. Louis area as well.
Well, and the Catholic numbers are down. So
all church numbers, weddings, baptisms, divorces. I think divorces have stayed the same. Less people getting married, less people having children.
Yeah.
Those more people living at home, which gets into some other issues as well, whether good or bad. So that's interesting that you bring that up, Megan, because I mean, like we always say, throw a dart, you're going to find a topic that we're here to talk about, because once again, so much crap is going on in this country and we're all just trying to find our way. That's what we always try to do here, at least on Cancel This. What caught you with the show when you first started listening or viewing? Was there something you're like, oh, that's what I like, that's why I'm going to watch, or that's why I'm going to continue to watch?
Well, I love politics, and I am definitely a fact checker of all things in my life. I'm just one of those people. I just love to know what the truth is. I love to see and hear both sides of any story. And so it was just really nice to hear and have a platform where people can go and express their conservative views and touch on things, whether it's happening locally or nationally, touch on those issues and hear it from people that also want to hear the truth and want to hear the facts. Whether we like it or not, there's a lot. It's powerful to know what is really happening.
Did you see the video from last night's Rockefeller tree lighting in New York?
No.
Oh, yeah. We'll show that video for you as well. Okay. Big deal. The tree lighting, Rockefeller Center tree lighting every year. Well, last night, families couldn't go and enjoy a Christmas tree lighting without having Hamas and pro-Palestinian in New York, a nice night for other families who were there. So this was going on New York City last night, and this stuff hasn't stopped. I don't know if and when it will stop, but it makes me, you have a right to protest, but you know what? Once again, all the protesting's coming out of what Hamas did to Israel on October 7th.
Yeah, it makes zero sense when they show up to these different gatherings. It's
because they know they're getting attention.
Well,
exactly.
And the attention needs to go. They need to realize that it's Hamas that they need to be speaking against.
It's not. And we're technically
America.
in a ceasefire.
Right.
And I know this was a subject near and dear to your heart recently.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think that these people showing up, I mean, can you imagine in your wildest dreams waking up one day and saying, you know what, I'm going to go down to that parade today and I'm going to glue myself to a street. The thought process is just baffling to me and it's not, in my eyes, it's not getting them anywhere. We understand that there's definitely
That's a good point. And not to interrupt you, I'm wondering what this is doing to their quote cause. Is it gaining younger people who may not have a vision or be on solid ground or not?
I think the design behind it is to infuriate Catholics and Christians.
Or to change the next generation to their viewpoint. If you can try to go to, quote, mighty America and get more people to not stand with Israel, then maybe they'll take. I mean, the problem with the whole thing is, and these are facts, Palestine was offered a state of their own at least 4 or 5 times going back to the 30s. And they denied it every time because it also gave Israel their opportunity to have their own independence as well.
That's right.
I mean, that's why, I mean, I'm sorry, let's talk real. If you turn down your opportunities 4 different times over, just under 100 years, how can anybody take you serious?
That's right.
Because they don't want it unless Israel is not around. But yet Israel was willing to do the state. I'm correct me if I'm wrong.
So and as a Christian, we want to know the truth, and you kind of touched earlier on it, and I think it's our duty to make sure that we do find the truth. And there is so much behind all of this that's going on, and it's horrible, and it just really is horrible. But I would just challenge anyone to go and look at all of the facts and all of maybe some of the reasons why you have these frustrations on both sides. There's no reason for terrorist groups of any kind. But I think a lot of the Palestinians, they're hearing what their parents and what their families of generations and generations have been, their frustrations with it. And so I won't get into it, but there's a whole lot that has happened. And like you said, there have been different times where they were supposed to get land that they didn't, and they feel like that it was stolen from them. And then, that breeds hate. And then you get these wild, terrorist groups that ruin everything, and they're not helping their people.
My question is this, and this is a side note. Why is it that you have over 40 Muslim countries and not one of them would take refugees from Gaza? Let me repeat that for everybody. If all these Muslims love the people of Palestine and the Palestinians in Gaza, why won't one country take one refugee? That should show you right there that things are not on the up and up. Now,
and they don't like each other, and that's the the problem. They do not. Those countries, they have enough issues on their own, and they've been fighting for hundreds and hundreds of years. The different groups.
America, you take them. You take the refugees. Why won't they? And now that's become a subject where you have politicians in Missouri telling Governor Parson, you got to stop this. And Governor Parson saying anybody that knows anything about law knows the government can put refugees wherever they want. Yet no Muslim countries are taking these refugees. And if they are, show me, tell me so we can talk about it. But the last time I looked, none of them will accept the refugees. Muslim countries not accepting other Muslims. Think about that. Muslims not accepting Muslims. But then we want to talk about peace treaties. We want to talk about ceasefires after they delivered the blow. They sucker punched on October 7th. They did. I'm calling it out. It's truth. They sucker punched.
Yeah.
While there was a, quote, ceasefire. And then you want a ceasefire. And then the government is lost. The Biden administration is weak. They're up and down. They're all around. They're waffly. They're not strong. I don't know one day what they're trying to do and the next day what they're not. And they're all running and trying to find cover and, we're going to stay from the media, or, what makes us look good here or makes us look bad there. I mean, hell, you even had Joe Biden call Xi from China a dictator, and there's video of Antony Blinken going, "Oh no, you shouldn't have done that." And I'm like, why would you look like that?
Because that hurt to watch that.
Because Joe Biden's so lost, he doesn't know what he's talking about. They're all controlling him, and they hear him call him a dictator. He's like, "Oh." What? But that's the kind of things that are going on, those kinds of things behind the scene, especially when you start talking about the refugee situation. And then it's one of those things where we know we have an open border. And okay, so we have an open border. Anybody and everybody can come in, as you talked about to start the show, when it comes to sex trafficking, your industry, which you've become an expert at. When it comes to people coming in and taking over jobs, how are you supposed to treat illegal aliens? How are we supposed to treat it? Because I think it's pretty clear illegal aliens are going to come in here, and if the same kind of administration is brighter, made legal. And the only retribution right now is Donald Trump, and I think Ron DeSantis said it a little bit, is trying to collect as many of them as possible and deporting them and shipping them back. And how much money is that going to cost? How long will that take? How are you going to find people? Are they going to be armed when you go to try to find them now because of the guns in the country? There's a lot of massive issues that are now taking place that people are trying to figure out what to do.
Well, and I think New York is a perfect example of you have these Democratic states that were complaining over and over and over about the mistreatment of the immigrants and how Texas was handling them in the wrong way and how they shouldn't have been sending them here or there. And, we will welcome them and all the virtue signaling in the world. And then once, okay, if you're standing there with open arms, let me send you, a few thousand and then a few more thousand. And now look at that city. I mean, it is terrible. And then you get leaders like AOC coming out and standing in the midst of these thousands of homeless immigrants amongst the hundreds and hundreds of homeless New Yorkers saying, well, we just need more money. We just need more money. And it's you just scratch your head. How can people think that this is normal or okay? And we're not even taking care of our own people. And now we're supposed to be taking care of everyone else. And it is unfair on so many levels. And we just don't have we don't have the resources. Like I said, look at New York. I mean, that is just a catastrophe there.
Well, the resources
Horrible.
are going down and down. And what was the total? I think it's because I wasn't here yesterday. What is it? Oh my God, I gotta find it somewhere. It was 421. It couldn't have been million. It was either, guys, I'm sorry, it was 421 million or $421 billion of tax money is what is being paid to take care of all the illegals that are here.
Oh, I'm not shocked about that at all.
For housing, food, care. It's just a matter before it busts. You can't continue that, which is why you even have Democrat leaders in Democratic cities calling out Joe Biden, begging for help, asking for help, trying to save their political lives because they know it can't work.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going all over the place. They're trying to find where they can find. They're trying to get help wherever they possibly can, get a freebie.
Right.
I always say that it's least noticeable in the St. Louis and Missouri area because we're in the middle of the country, but it's coming. Is Joe on video backstage ready to go?
Yep.
Yeah, it's probably a good time to bring in St. Charles County Councilman Joe Brazel, who's been on the show before. Joe, nice ear. I guess you're driving.
Yeah, I'm going to pull over here. I'm pulling over right now to turn my car off. I got one of these Hemi 8s, and it's loud.
I thought you were just showing us your ear and sideburn. What a nice job you've done on that. So,
good job keeping those ears clean, man.
Yeah, thank you. Nothing like waking up to an earshot. This is a story that we've talked about a couple different times when it comes to what's happening in just one community across the country. St. Charles County Council, in the middle of red, conservative, Republican St. Charles, voted against what I would call more of a symbolizing of, hey, we don't want illegal immigrants here. It was voted down by 3 of your colleagues, all Republicans. What would it have done had it passed? I mean, what outside of being a message, and if it was just a message, why that would have been so important? Because you were pissed off that your colleagues voted no on the resolution.
Well, yeah, we've talked about this before. In St. Charles County, everyone runs as a Republican, when in fact some of them aren't. And like Mike Gielan and Nancy Schneider are total liberals. And it was a common sense ordinance or resolution. Now, what was it? Was it meaningless? It was simply symbolic. All of our resolutions are symbolic. It's making a statement that that's what we're agreeing to. And a lot of our constituents, when the Mayor Jones in St. Louis was touting on how they're going to go up to Chicago and bring all these immigrants in from Chicago because they took in 18,000, and I guess it ain't going so well for them. So now they're bringing them down to St. Louis, which is already dysfunctional as hell and has the highest crime rate in our country. And then Chicago's second. So look at this. This is a great program, right? And so my constituents were calling me, what are you guys going to do? What are you going to do? So I thought, well, we'll just do a resolution, because of course all the county council members are going to be opposed to it. Now, keep in mind, Vic, this is called the parole program put on by Homeland Security. And it never went through the act of Congress. So they changed, the Biden administration changed the immigration law, which he can't do legally. So Andrew Bailey, our attorney general, and 19 other attorney generals are suing the government, the Biden administration, on this program. It's called the parole program. Okay. So it's not legal. So these immigrants are illegal, period. And so the problem with this is they can't just move people from one place to the other without going through the immigration process, which they're not. And so that's the meat on the bone there. And then our county council members, they're just pandering to all these liberal left lunatics. Vic, did you see the video where they were chanting Palestine to Mexico, all the border walls must go? They were chanting that, these BLM, Antifa, communists, and there were some traditional Democrats that were a little more peaceful, but they were shouting in our meeting, shouting me down. And I was saying, you guys don't even care about the Constitution. You don't care about this ordinance. You just care. They had signs saying there is no such thing as illegal immigrants. They're so entitled, these crazy lunatics, that they think they can just do whatever the hell they want. And the American tradition and values and the American dream doesn't exist because everyone's welcome and they're entitled to it. It's insane.
We showed the video, Joe, talking with St. Charles County Councilman Joe Brazel. We showed the video. We heard it. It was sickening to hear. Were most of those people, would you say, younger?
There was a mix, it was really a mixed group. It was really odd, but Vic, there has to be some kind of way they're organized where they put it on Facebook, because there were people, I would say if there were 200 people in the room opposing the resolution, I'd say 5 of them were from St. Charles County, and I've never seen those folks. They were wearing those jihadists, the scarves that go across under your nose for women, covered all up. They had people like that in there. They had people wearing those jihadist masks that we put it on. I got pictures of it where they show a jihadist mask and there are people wearing those colors and that kind of pinstriping and stuff. And it was so bizarre. It was like, I've never seen anything like that in our county before in my life. And it had something to do with this. It had much more to do with the resolution. They were trying to do some kind of statement, and it was just bizarre. I mean, and the county council members who didn't support it, I leaned over to Mike Elam and I said, you know what that chant is, Mike? That's anti-Israel. That's Hamas. That's terrorist stuff. I go, and that's who you supported? I go, great job. Well, they're too ignorant. Our county council members, those 3, are just too ignorant to even understand the depth of what they were supporting.
Mike Elam swears he's Republican, swears he's conservative, and knows he's like, somebody's got to try to find a middle ground. And I'm going to be remembered as trying to find a middle ground. And if I lose any election I ever run for, he's like, so be it. He said, at least I know that I'm going out trying to do what is right, because he thinks that this will eventually hurt the legal immigrants who have come to this country.
That's insane. How could the two have nothing to do with each other? The resolution said we welcome all legal immigrants to our county with open arms. And so what he's saying, he wants to be Mount Road. That's what liberals say, because they're scared to take a stance. They're scared to have leadership. When we had COVID in our county, those 3, Schneider, Elam, and Hollander, they did not. I gave so much pushback on all the COVID nonsense, all the quarantines. We quarantined 350,000 kids in 2020. Not one child, not one person under 28 in our county died from COVID, and they were targeting the wrong people. That's when you saw the true colors of these people, supposed Republicans. Well, it goes on and on. It's just as another example. No leadership. They're saying, well, this resolution has everything to do with immigration, and therefore we don't do anything with immigration. No, but we're a leader. We're a leader in the community, so you have to make a statement, and that's what leaders do. They don't sit on the sidelines and try to find middle ground. There is no such thing on middle ground on this issue. Zero middle ground. The Constitution is the Constitution. You follow the laws. We are a country of law and order. If you don't believe that, then that's when we become uncivilized.
So what does it do with St. Charles County moving forward? Easy enough. He said it, and it was a mic drop right there. That's what he was. He was a mic drop. I'm teasing. Obviously, his signal went out. But if it did, what a great way to end. Bam! I'm done. And Councilman Joe Brazel is entitled to his opinion as well. He just wants, he says, well, everybody thinks that I'm like this far right lunatic conspiracy theorist, but he's like, I'm bringing evidence. I'm bringing everything I possibly can to the table to try to show people we're being infiltrated and things need to change.
Yeah. Well, in those signs that were being held, no human is illegal. And then, like he was saying, the chants, all the way from Mexico to Palestine.
Yeah, the walls must go.
Right. But I don't understand these people that say that no human is illegal and they want to just welcome everyone with open arms. My question to them is, what are they doing? What are they doing in their, whether it's their personal life, their work life, or their community to help? Are they doing outreach? Are they making it possible? Are they giving monetary, donations to make all of this happen? Or are they sitting behind their keyboard in social media and showing up for meetings and, virtue signaling?
A lot of the virtual signaling going on, and we appreciated Joe for joining us and giving us his perspective of what's happening, because it can happen anywhere. It happened in St. Charles County. It can happen and Joe, we'll give you a final word in regard before we get off the line with you regarding what's next for St. Charles County as you guys move forward. I mean, all Republicans, and it doesn't seem like everybody can agree, if ever, on much.
Yeah. Well, Matt Swanson called me yesterday and he said, do you want to reintroduce it? Because if he had knee surgery and his leg was really swollen, he was on painkillers. He didn't make it. But if he was there, it would have passed, Now, one more point, Vic, and I'll let you go, is that if you believe that this is a legitimate, this parole program, if you believe that it's accurate and it's legit, it says in there that they're supposed to sponsor when they bring in illegal immigrants, they're supposed to financially sponsor for 2 years. This program's only offering 3 months of financial aid. So who the hell's going to take it after 3 months?
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean,
that's a great point.
There's all kinds of questions, and our liberal leftist county council members who just go along with every left and moderate perspective, they're weak, and they make these comments. Well, it's not important. No, they're just weak, and they can't make a decision, and they can't make a strong one, and they're trying to pander to the liberals' vote is what they're doing, and it's disgusting.
Joe, keep us posted. I know a lot of people agree with you and are appreciative that you're coming out and speaking how you are, my friend. So thank you for jumping on today on Cancel This, and let us know if there's anything else we need to know.
All right. Thank you guys so much.
All right. St. Charles County Councilman Joe Brazel, bringing it strong. I mean, it is what it is. I agree with a lot of what he had to say. I also believe in trying to find middle ground. I just don't know if you're going to find it when it comes to illegal immigrants, illegal aliens coming into your city and coming up with resources. I disagree with it. It's illegal for a reason. Illegal.
Yep.
Despite people saying something is legal now or should be legal.
Well, and if you can imagine, if we did not have things being done legally and with a process, can you imagine the anarchy that we would live in?
There's a reason.
We're the only country that allows this craziness.
Yeah. Go try to go into China, walk into China, walk into Russia.
That's right. And then run around with signs saying, that you disagree or you think that they should let everyone in.
Well, and here's another thing before we get out today. I wanted to show this picture of this Chiefs boy that we showed you a couple days ago. I don't know. Did we follow up? I wonder, Joe, did we do any follow up on the Chiefs kid yesterday?
Yeah, I think they did.
Okay. Well, last night he spoke, and here we're going to show you the picture to remind you of his headdress, of what he was showing. This kid was blasted, absolutely blasted. And this just came out last night where they talked. This kid was blasted by Deadspin, and an African-American author or writer. What was his name? Karen. That's right.
Karen, however.
With Deadspin, ultra left BLM guy saying that this kid and his family were racist because he painted half of his face black and they only showed the side of his face that was black. They didn't show the full picture. Once again, you're always going to get the full story with canceltheshow.com. Well, then it came out yesterday. Oh, just happens to be that he has Indian heritage on top of it all. And it doesn't matter if this kid was Irish, English, German, he could wear that same outfit. But to add insult to injury to this writer, this black writer who's trying to stir up a bunch of shit, This kid is from a tribe in California.
Mm-hmm.
His grandpa was one of the leading members of their tribe. He actually lived on a reservation.
Yeah.
This kid.
Yeah.
He lived on a damn reservation. No apology from Deadspin yet. No apology from the black racist writer who tried to create problems because we have enough of them as it is in this country.
Mm-hmm.
But damn, I hope the apologies come. And damn, I hope and pray there's a lawsuit of some kind here that they could file against this guy. No apology. Not even an apology.
No. And he is such a sweet kid. He's 9 years old. He's a football player. He's just a good American kid. And he was so proud.
Loves his Chiefs.
Yeah. He asked his dad if he could do his face last night for the interview. And he's like, yeah, I don't think so. I think we're going to hold off on that for now. But he's got so many people in the NFL supporting him. And there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be painting their faces for him this coming weekend at some of the games.
Oh, that's great. Oh, I didn't even hear that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
To support him. Mm-hmm. So I hope I hope that he feels a little ashamed if that's possible, that
if he wrote the story, he doesn't feel ashamed.
Well,
and he also tried to double down and say the red means that he was double racist. Mm-hmm. But now he knows, oh, that kid is Indian as well. Oh, shit. Mm-hmm. I'm screwed.
I think he's getting the attention that he wanted.
Well, he's getting it. He deserves a lot of the other attention as well. And how he still has a job, I don't know.
Well, I heard that they have him kind of looking out for, any possible way to attack people for racist gestures. Like that's kind of his thing. So, he's on the lookout. I mean, look how late he was to the game on this. When was this kid dressed up? How long ago? And he's just now, coming around about it. It's shameful.
Yeah, I do see that as well. I'm just grateful that in the end, this kid, his dad, his family have their story told and the truth comes out. And first of all, the kid did nothing wrong. Mm-hmm. And then on top of it, he's Indian.
That it could not have gone better.
What a dumbass writer.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy, he looked to stir the pot of shit and now he got a big fat pile of it right in his face. Mm-hmm. And he's going to have to deal with it somehow, some way. Where are all the people trying to cancel him? Where are his bosses trying to fire him? Because he didn't do his research. He didn't do his job.
No.
He did not do his job. He failed miserably. And God, I hope Deadspin gets blasted for this if they don't fire him for what he just did.
And
just apologize. Say, listen, I made a mistake. I screwed up. And guess what? It's probably over. Mm-hmm. Just apologize and it's over.
And to post a 9-year-old's face all over the place like that, that's wrong on another level. Mm-hmm. To give that kid attention that could potentially be extremely harmful, that he needs to I don't know what could happen for that, but I think one of the people on here, Jay, just said that that he is going to have a lawsuit coming.
All right.
Slander, public defecation. Mm-hmm.
Defamation.
Defamation. Yeah.
Yeah. And exposing a minor like that. Is there
Shut
something
up,
for that? What?
I almost said defecation. He caught it.
Hey, what a great way. By the way, I want to remind everybody, next Thursday is the holiday / 1 year party. Next Thursday, 7:00 at Wenty's. We have a link on the Facebook line. I know we got knocked off today. I know that I was messaged or told by 3 different people they didn't get their normal Facebook link. I don't know what was going on, but it's still a great show. And we appreciate everybody staying with us, liking, subscribing, sharing the show.
I'm still not seeing chat from halfway through the show.
Yeah. So, we're grateful that everybody did what they did, rocking and rolling from the show. Also, next Thursday, that link, it would help us if you could, click on it and let us know if you're going to be there. It's always good just to get a head count. So we'll be there all night. Myself, Joe, Lizzie, we'll see who else. Derek, also another show coming with Derek, Lizzie, Pro Joe. Can't wait for that. It's going to be great. Lots of big good things happening. Just let us know. You can jump in. And also running on our screen right now, the Gateway Alliance Against Human Trafficking, the organization
That's awesome.
that Megan is a part of, GAHTMO.org, like GATMO, GAHTMO.org, to help do the great work that she does. And who knows, maybe you'll see Megan before too long on her own show. I don't know. We'll see. We'll talk about it. We'll see what we can get going with that. But that'll do it for us today. Tomorrow, Free for All Friday. Don't miss us. Patrick Willett in the 8 o'clock hour, talking about what's happening in Minneapolis that could be happening in St. Louis before too long. You will not want to miss this. Plus Eric, maybe Kelly Mano, Lizzie, myself, Projo. That does it. Anything else? Any final words?
No, but thanks for letting me sit in. I mean, I'm no Lizzie for sure, but it sure was fun.
All right.
Great time.
Thank you so much, Megan. Megan Moret. So for Megan Moret and Projo, I'm Vic Faust. Thanks for joining us for Cancel the Show. Remember to like, subscribe, share the show. We appreciate it when people also donate to the show to help pay all the costs that we have. You know who you are. We're grateful for that. And if you have any ideas for advertisers or sponsors, please check out our advertisers and our partners, our sponsors, Amini's Complete Auto Body Repair, Route 66 Cannabis, Solar City STL, Strategic Air Services. And I'm not kidding. Go check out the website at WeQuip. Awesome place to rent from other people. A lot of really cool things there. You can also rent stuff to other people. And of course, Winty's in the Chesterfield Valley, where we'll be doing our show next week. Everybody have a great day. That does it for this November 30th podcast. We'll see you tomorrow.